Hello there. Why aren't we spending billions on getting to the bottom of this corruption that caused so much human destruction and arresting the perpetrators? Now, Richard has a related question at the end of this video that will interest many of you. Now, given the injuries and the excess deaths, one would be forgiven for thinking that the UK government would be springing forward with a high-powered investigation to uncover the truth. I mean, isn't that what they're meant to be doing? And look at the ferocity with which Sadiq Khan is forging ahead with his ULEZ expansion, with the argument that doing so will reduce illness and deaths due to pollutants. And the same goes for all the other places around the UK and the world where they are building back better using those same arguments. But where a certain medical procedure is concerned, we have only silence and, worse, cover-up. So why is life so precious when it concerns them removing our freedoms, but is almost disposable when proof that their actions are actually doing more harm than good emerges? And while they continue to ignore the damage and try and distract us away from looking for it, we now have Rishi Sunak's Health Secretary, Steve Barclay, doing some serious sucking up to the ardent roll-your-sleeves-up man, Bill Gates. And I call him Sunak's Health Secretary because I'm not sure he's our Health Secretary. And Barclay said in a tweet, "Good to meet Bill Gates to discuss global health and better pandemic response, as well as how tech and AI are shaping our future. Research and innovations in clinical trial design can help improve health for all. Great to hear how Gates Foundation are doing this." That's all we need, a woke artificial intelligence program run by a private corporation dictating our health to us. That tells me we've only just started down this route, a route that will be so lucrative for the very few. And now consider that we've spent hundreds of billions on making sure that Big Pharma had the chance to get its product into something like 70% of the world's population, but as far as I can tell, not one red cent is going to be spent on really investigating its efficacy or its true impact on the bodies of its recipients. And why not? Especially after recent admissions from some of the companies involved and Gates himself that this stuff may not have been as good as was initially advertised. Further, any mechanisms put in place to recover misspent funds over that couple of years has been quietly wound up. No money will be spent on bringing people to book. And while the vast majority of the UK population sat quietly compliant at home, a few nasty people were fleecing you of your hard-earned money via the tax system and robbing you of loved ones you lost early, who could not be given the send-off they deserved. Because the great and good needed you locked away while they conducted their physical and mental experiments on what they view as mere lab rats with money. And something they're continuing to push where they can today. And the people are now looking at the antics of our politicians and official scientists during the last couple of years and wondering who they can trust with their health going forwards. And along comes a cost of living crisis and some UFO stories to keep us amused, with the only health topic allowed being the usual one of who will save the NHS. All hoping they can either switch voters off from ever bothering with politics again or get them trapped back firmly into the pointless rut of the red versus blue political mentality. But do you think that where this particular issue is concerned, that Labour would do any different to the Tories, or that the Tories would oppose Labour doing it? I don't. No, we are set on a path, and it matters not which of those two you elect. They will both attend Davos conferences. And remember that Keir Starmer did say he preferred Davos to Westminster. probably because he recognises it would be easier for him to force the science on you by using the Davos methodology. Voters and elections do have the knack of getting in the way, except the 2019 one, it seems. So don't think that by ignoring or voting for one of those red or blue Build Back Better, Great Reset, 40 Cities WEF stooges that anything will get any better. It will only get worse. And please realise one thing, the more compliant you are and the more you obey their diktats to ask no questions of your betters, the easier a target you and your loved ones are. Now over to Richard.
Was You Know What around in 2019? Please allow me to tell you my story, and let's see if any of you have had the same experience and have the same story to tell, or a similar story. Oh, and my conclusions are those of a simpleton and not an expert, so not to be taken with anything other than a pinch of salt. Okay, so much to my shame, in August 2019, I was working in a very menial capacity on a BBC production about a certain woke Time Lord. Not the best experience of my life, but anyway, late summer I started to feel rather unwell and found it very difficult to breathe, yet I managed to keep working even though I was in a very bad way. I developed a dry cough that wouldn't go away, a hacking dry cough. And for the first time in my entire life, I lost my senses of smell and taste. That is August 2019. I went to my doctor who tells me there is something strange going around, a strange virus. I stopped at the petrol station and the man behind the counter had the same cough as me. We exchanged notes on this cough and he also says he has lost his sense of smell and his sense of taste for the first time in his life also. I go to the local health food shop in Brecon and couldn't stop coughing, and a man came up to me and recounted his tale to me about how his son, who is a rugby player, had been in bed for 2 weeks with no sense of smell or taste and difficulty breathing with a hacking dry cough. In Newport, I popped into the pharmacy in the large Tesco there and asked for some cough medicine. And the pharmacist said that there was the strangest cough going around that she had never seen the likes of before, with shortness of breath. And she had been told not to not speak about it to anyone. Which I found very odd, and I still find odd to this day. I mean, she was just a pharmacist. Anyway, I'm glad she did tell me. This coughing condition kept coming back and lasted 6 months in total, and it was around the 4 months mark we all started hearing about this illness emerging in China. And I thought, I'm done for, because I had not recovered from whatever it was that I'd had, and I was therefore not very well placed to be able to deal with this horrific illness that was meant to be coming across from China. We all watched the footage of people dropping down dead in the streets of China and leaked footage of warehouses filled with sick people screaming with this new illness, and the leaked footage coming out of China was the same as the leaked footage which is now coming out of Italy. It was very, very scary. Then it all changed for me in March 2020 when Tory MP Nadine Dorries became sick with you-know-what, and she said that her overriding symptoms were a loss of sense of smell and taste, a hacking dry cough and difficulty breathing. And it was at that very point that the penny dropped. I had already had this same illness in August 2019. This means that what we experienced in 2020 was in fact the second wave, and thus the findings of respectable academics who were then later silenced were probably true, and that we had achieved some form of herd immunity by spring 2020, and it was at that point I no longer felt any fear towards it. I knew something was very much off and we were not being told the truth. And then I heard about the arm intrusion and health passports, and it became increasingly obvious to me that this illness was an excuse for the arm intrusion. But why? Why were the global authorities so adamant to get that stuff into people? So, were you ill in 2019, or was somebody you know ill in 2019 with something very unusual? Let us know in the comment section below.